Mr. Des Amey, you are, in fact, you know, this is a man who needs no introduction. He is one of my mentors. In fact, every single one of these speakers are people who I look to for advice. I explain how I look up to Paul for his business advice. I look to Krystle for finance knowledge. I look to Robert for his investment knowledge. So every single one of these people are people who I learn from. And I definitely learn from Des. Des is going to talk to you about his journey and about potential ways of being able to survive. We've looked at managing our finances during this time. Robert's spoken to us about knowing how and where to invest. Paul has just spoken to us about thinking about how to develop a business idea. And I think there are some fantastic ideas he's just given, and people's brains must have been thinking, right, I need to try that and start that business. Now Des is going to wrap things up presentation-wise and give us his experience. So Des, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Can I just start by handing it right back to you? You know, this is absolutely sensational. The quality and the caliber of the speakers have been sensational. So, just have to hand it right back to you, OC, man. You've absolutely raised the bar.
Thank you so much, Des. I appreciate it. And when you talk about the caliber of speakers, you are including yourself, sir. So thank you so much for agreeing to take part. I'll hand it over to you. Feel free to share what you have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Guys, if you've got any value at all from any of the speakers for what you've heard tonight, can you just show some appreciation in the chat box, please, guys? Can you just put a 1 in the chat box if you've got some sort of value at all from any of our speakers? Because I'm here like taking notes. You know, I'm a panelist, but I'm taking notes. I'm catching nuggets. We say that note takers are the money makers. So guys, where the note takers at? If you've been taking notes, can you put a 2 in the chat box, please, guys? If you've been taking notes, because my hand is hurting right now. I can tell you that my hand is hurting. So guys, I'm going to share my screen with you real quick. Wow, see all those 1s and 2s. I see all my note takers, all the money makers. Absolutely fantastic. So again, guys, it's been an absolute honor and privilege to be on this call. I still see the 1s and the 2s coming through. Absolutely fantastic. So guys, my name is Des Amey. I'm the managing director of Amey Finance Academy based in the Canary Wharf Tower. Guys, we're the proud sponsors of this event and we work very closely with OC. Now, the main message for my piece tonight is on the left-hand side of your screen, and it's from Warren Buffett. And we say that success leaves clues. Never depend on a single income. Make an investment to create a second source. And lots of the previous speakers have touched on this. So I'm really going to just kind of sum it up. But it's so important that you do not rely on one source of income. Okay, now one thing I want to do today is, you know, drop lots of gems and nuggets. So please, if you haven't already got a notepad and pen, I urge you to get one. And one thing that I like to do whenever I'm speaking is cause a paradigm shift and cause the listeners to take some form of action. And the first form of action I want you to take is I want you to write down one financial goal, just one financial goal. In fact, can we just get some in the chat box? Just any financial goal, whether that's, you know, getting on the housing ladder, whether it's clearing credit card debts, whether it's retiring a parent. Can we just get some in the chat box? Just a little bit of interaction, just some financial goals. Okay, we've got a few coming through now. Okay, so we've got savings, buying a house, paying off debt, clearing debt, financial freedom. What does financial freedom actually look like to you, Dinah? Let's just unpick that a little bit. Debt-free. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So here's the challenge. I want you to write down your financial goal. Only 3% of the population actually write down their financial goals. But let me let you into a little secret. We become what we think about. You can attract into your life the things that you think about most. So what do you think will happen if you became obsessed with your financial goals? You see, wealthy people become obsessed with their goals. So here's my challenge. I want you to write down your financial goals and I want you to read them at least once a day, but preferably 3 times a day. So I read mine first thing in the morning, 3 p.m. when my alarm goes off, whether I'm in a meeting or not, and before I go to sleep. So please do take that action. I want you to think of your financial goals as your destination. You wouldn't just jump in a car and start driving around aimlessly. You know, put a 4 in the chat box. If you would just jump in your car and just drive, no destination, there's nothing in the sat nav, you're just driving around. Okay, tumbleweed. So why do we do that? Why do we do that with our financial goals? Why do we just, you know, move through life without any direction? So your financial goals, that's your destination. Guys, you guys have taken me off track. I didn't even want to talk about financial goals. I've been given sharp instructions to be very, very to the point. But guys, Amey Finance Academy, we are wealth creation experts. And in a nutshell, we help people to create multiple sources of income. Okay, it's so important not to rely on one source of income, and never has that been more pertinent than right now. You know, so many people that were relying on their employed income, their self-employed income, and then we have all the people that are falling in the cracks. You know, I thought Krystle did a brilliant job earlier, you know, giving that advice. I was making notes because I've got so many clients that are falling in the cracks. You know, they're not self-employed, they're not employed, they're directors of limited companies, and you know, they're kind of falling in the cracks. So many people have been relying on that income stream, and now, you know, it's in danger. So what we do is we help people to create income through property, whether that's through growing a property portfolio. Paul mentioned about acquiring property on probate, where we have, you know, links with executors where we get streamlines of probate property to help people to execute strategies such as buy and flip. We teach on rent to service accommodation. That's property. We also teach on online trading and how to make an income for, you know, 1 hour a day, for example. If you have 1 hour a day, you can develop another stream of income. 3, e-commerce, better known as drop shipping, which is a form of e-commerce. And 4, our entrepreneurship program that's taken the UK by storm. And just to give you a little highlight as to how it's taken the UK by storm, you know, we've been able to create, you know, 5, 6, 7-figure earners through our entrepreneurship program. Just on Friday, those of you that follow me on social media will know that we promoted a young man who's 24 years old to a position where he's earning 50,000 every single month. What some people hope to earn in a year, this young man is earning in every month. Okay, feel free, those of you that are part of the academy that are on a call, feel free to put his name in the chat box. So guys, I want to keep my message really clear today and really sharp. I've been introduced already. I'm the managing director of the company. I'm also a chairman in a company called I Am Mastery Academy. I'm a financial coach, a keynote speaker, a finance broker, a property expert, a financial trader and trainer, and a former lecturer. I'm known in the industry as a wealth creation expert. Now, you know, don't let the fancy titles fool you. You know, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth, not at all. In fact, in our family, no one is entrepreneurial. In our family, you only have 2 professions that you can go into. You either go into healthcare or you go into education. You can literally go through our family and just put people on whichever side. You know, my father was a doctor, my mum was a nurse, they met in a hospital, you know, so the expectation was for me to become a doctor. I rebelled and went into teaching. And I taught for over 12 years. I taught in secondary schools across London, secondary schools and colleges in Essex and in London. I had a great career. I was destined to become a head teacher. I was an assistant head teacher at my highest point. I love my job. You know, I regard myself as a driver of social mobility. I always, you know, ensure that there's always impact over income, and I put people over profits always. The only thing I don't miss about my job in teaching was living what we call paycheck to paycheck, living month to month. And living paycheck to paycheck, or hand to mouth, as some people call it, is where you're just getting through each month. Each month is, you know, each month is a bit of a struggle. So I would get paid at the end of the month, and then by the 5th of the month, I'm still in my overdraft. I'm wondering where the money's gone. I've got no money whatsoever, so I'm having to rely on my credit card and loans. I ended up with unsecured debt of over £30,000. I don't know if anyone can relate to this feeling of living paycheck to paycheck. But can anyone relate to that feeling when you go to the supermarket checkout or wherever the shop may be, and you're nervous that your card may not be processed? I want you to put a 5 in the chat box if that's ever happened to you. If you've ever gone to like the till and you're just praying that the transaction is going to go through. Can anyone relate to that? I see Deborah. I see you guys coming through. Guys, like someone said, that's them now. Guys, you know that feeling when you're sweating? Like you actually don't know. It's like Russian roulette. Like it could go through, it may not. Like it's an issue. You know, I remember that feeling of my son coming home with letters to go on a school trip. And I'm not sure, like, you know, I love school trips, but I'm not even sure whether we can budget for this school trip. Is it me, or are school trips just getting more and more expensive? Anyway, guys, I got to a point where I realized I was living a very definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different outcome. So this is what I want you to write down. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And if there's one thing that I urge you all to do from all the speakers today, is to take some form of action. That's it. Don't leave here the same person. Okay, don't leave here the same person. You can't come on a webinar like this and hear from, you know, some of the great speakers like Robert, Krystle, Paul, you know, the other Paul, and not take some form of action. It's so important. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So guys, for me, that action was reading a book that changed my whole life. And that book is called, if somebody can write this in the chat box, it's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And that book changed my whole life. And here's the reason why. It's because what it did was it caused a paradigm shift. Here's that word again that I used at the beginning, a paradigm shift. And a paradigm shift is a change to your belief system. You see, I had a certain belief system, and it was instilled into me from my parents and from school. And that belief system was that I worked hard, I studied hard, I went uni, I got a safe and dependable job, and I worked in that job. And you know, if I wanted to earn more money, I'd get a promotion. But essentially, you know, that was my paradigm. So guys, if you don't mind, and I want you to put a 6 in the chat box, I want to just spend the next couple of minutes just talking about the financial secrets of wealth and really addressing something that really helped me to change my belief system in order for me to be where I am now. So just put a 6 in the chat box if you want to hear these financial secrets of wealth. And if you've heard this before, I want you to treat this like your favorite movie. You know, when you watch your favorite movie, I know that Osis is Pretty Woman. Okay, so when Osis is watching Pretty Woman, you know, he'll watch it like, you know, once a week. And whenever he watches it, he tells me that there's always like one part that he didn't really catch before. So this could be that. Okay. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for the 6s. So have a look at your screen, guys, because I promise you, if you really digest this pie chart, you're about to go clear. Now, remember, the central message is just not to depend on a single source of income. Now, you can see on this pie chart that it represents the 4 main ways in which people make an income. There are 4 main ways in which people make their money legally. I have to add the word legally. I did a presentation once. I'm a keynote speaker, so I do a lot of public speaking. And, you know, somebody challenged me and said, you know, and that's why I had to add the word legally. So you can see that 60% of people earn their money from working for someone. So they're employed. 60% of people are employed. Now, I'm not here to be down on employment, not at all. I'm not saying that at all. You know, we have employees, and also, you know, we need employees. Look at the NHS staff that are doing wonders right now. My message is simple. Do not rely on a single source of income. Always invest to develop a second source. And then you've got 35% of people that work for someone, they're self-employed. That's 95% of the population who are earning just 5% of the wealth. That doesn't seem fair. But here's the real startling thing. You've got 95% of the population that have something in common. They are exchanging their time for money. So when someone who's employed or self-employed wants to earn more money, they have to exchange more of their time. So they have to do overtime, or they have to get a second job. So even when I was a school teacher, when I wanted more money, I would have to do lunch duty, after school clubs. I'd work in the holidays with like holiday clubs and things like this. Okay, exchanging time for money. Even when I kind of, developed a side hustle and I became a mortgage broker, I was self-employed, and it was even harder. Any self-employed people on this Zoom call, I want you to put a 7 in the chat box if you're self-employed. You see, being self-employed, sometimes it can be even harder than being employed. I'm not going to lie, when I became self-employed, I started earning some good money, but I was not time-free. Any self-employed people that are time-free, put an 8 in the chat box, because they're quite rare. They're very, very well. Wow, quite a few self-employed people on this call. I hope that you're taking notes during Krystle's segment, because there was some real fire and nuggets. So guys, the problem with this 95% is that when you're earning money in this way, earning money is 100% reliant on you. You have to be present in order for the money to be earned. It relies 100% on you. So we need to find a way to get into the 5% of that pie chart, the 5%, or at least tap into the 5%. Here we have 5% of the population earning 95% of the money. So again, something's not quite right, but there's something that they're doing. And that's why we call it the financial secrets of wealth. Shall I tell you why? Because this is the stuff they don't teach you at school. I know, because I was a school teacher for over 12, 13 years. I do lots of guest speaking at universities, and I always ask students to put their hands up if they've ever been taught this stuff, and they always say no. So the 1% we know, the investor mindset. We know about the investor mindset. Robert covered that really well in his segment, how to invest. And also Paul mentioned about taking advantage of the situation. Being an investor is really about making your money work hard for you. That's it in a nutshell. We're taught how to work hard for money. We're taught how to grind. We're taught the 40, 40, 40. We're taught how to work 40 hours a day for 40 years for a £40 retirement gift. Guys, put an 8 in the chat box if you're looking forward to working 40 hours for 40 years for a £40 retirement gift. Put an 8 in the chat box. It's quiet. The chat box is quiet. Guys, that's what we're taught to do. Okay? That is exactly what we're taught to do. However, rather than relying 100% on your time, we have to develop business systems. That's the first one I want you to write down. I want you to write down business systems. You see, what wealthy people do is they develop business systems whereby they're able to apply the litmus test. So here's the litmus test. The litmus test is, if you can go on holiday for 6 months and your business can still generate money even without you being there, that's when you've got a real business system. So you self-employed people that put a 7 in the chat box, how many of you, Alethea, Deborah, Louisa, Havizia, Marva, Yasmin, how many of you can apply that litmus test? Okay, I know I couldn't when I was self-employed. It's very, very, very difficult. So it's better to make 1% of 100 people's time than to make, it's better to make 1% of 100 people's time than to make 100% of your own time. We have to develop something called leveraged income. Leveraged income. Leveraged income. I want you to write that down. Leveraged income. Leveraged income is where you are now able to leverage other people's time. And that is what wealthy people do. Wealthy people enjoy residual income. So they have more money left over each month. Wealthy people enjoy passive income. I want you to write that down. Guys, passive income is the best form of income that you'll ever make. Most millionaires have 90% of their income coming through passive channels. So what is passive income? It's income that you don't actively have to work for. You're not grinding for it. We're so used to grinding for money that we forget that we can make money passively. Let me give you some classic examples. So imagine that you write a song and every time it's played on the radio, you're paid a royalty. Last year, Michael Jackson made over $150 million and the guy's dead. What is Michael Jackson doing dead that we're not doing alive? Or writing a book and every time the book is sold, you are making an income. It's called passive income. You're not actively working for it. Sometimes it's doing something once and getting paid over and over again. Guys, it's about having multiple sources of income. The good book states very clearly in Ecclesiastics chapter 11, develop 7 or 8 sources of income. Guys, I don't care if you're religious or not. I find it so inspiring that a book that was written over 2,000 years ago talks about having 7 or 8 streams of income, and the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. So guys, let me wrap this up. Okay, I want to wrap it up with a quote from Warren Buffett. He said that the best form of investment he ever made was investing in himself. And that if we don't find a way to make money whilst we're sleeping, we will continue to work for money until the day that we die. So guys, when you join our platform, Amey Finance Academy, we show you ways in which you can start to develop passive income, enjoy leveraged income, residual income, and make money whilst you are sleeping. Thank you so much. You've been a fantastic audience, and I'm going to hand right back to OC. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Des. There's always so much energy and passion and just vital information that you're sharing with your presentation. So I really appreciate that. I think that really is just cool. As you said, like the paradigm shift in people's thinking and getting people to understand, actually, there is another way of doing it. I've had that sweaty palms, sweaty forehead feeling approaching the cash register, about to pay for my goods. Hi, my name is EJWAY. Thank you so much for showing your interest in our Grow Your Potential events. If you enjoy our events and if you get value from them, you are going to love the Honing Block. The Honing Block is a place where entrepreneurs go. It's a private Facebook group. We have live interviews there every single Tuesday evening. And if I don't have an interview, it's because I've got a live event. So click the link below to get straight into that group. I'll see you in there.